You're being selfish, Lucia. This is what family does. I'd heard those exact words before, when I was 13 and gave up my birthday money so Liam could go to soccer camp. When I was 17 and skipped prom to pay for my SAT tutor because my parents couldn't afford both. When I was 22 and working 3 jobs through college, while Liam was on his 3rd failed business and still living rent-free in the guest house. But this time, I didn't flinch. No, I said, folding my arms. I'm not giving you my money. Victoria blinked like I'd slapped her. Her lips tightened. It's not your money. It's family money. We raised you. We supported you. You raised me to survive you, I snapped. And I supported myself. She stood in the middle of my apartment like she owned it, even though she'd never seen it before today. She hadn't even congratulated me when I got the job offer. 6 figures, full benefits, corner office. But now that the checks were rolling in, suddenly I was the family asset. Liam leaned against my kitchen counter, arms crossed, smirking like he was watching a rerun of a show he'd already won. Look, he said, it's not that deep. We're just asking you to help out. I've got a new startup. I'm not funding your 4th startup, Liam, I said. You blew through Dad's retirement account and Mom's emergency fund. I'm not next. His face twisted. Wow, you really think you're better than us now? No, I said quietly. I've always known I was. Victoria's eyes flashed. We are your family. Without us, you'd be nothing. I opened the door. Then you'll be fine without me. She didn't move. You'll regret this. Blood is blood. I didn't answer. Just stared at her until she finally walked out, Liam trailing behind her like a sulking child. That was a Thursday. On Monday, I was served court papers at work. The receptionist looked like she wanted to sink into the floor as she handed them to me. I'm sorry. He said you had to sign. The man in the lobby wore a suit and a smug smile. Lucia, right? You've been served. I took the envelope. My hands were steady until I saw the first line. Petition for conservatorship on the basis of mental incompetence. I sat down hard in the break room, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. I read it 3 times before I could breathe. They weren't just taking my money. They were trying to erase me. My name is Lucia. I'm 29. I work in finance. I'm good at what I do, better than most of the men twice my age who try to explain my own reports to me. I grew up in a house where silence was currency and love was conditional. My brother Liam could have set the kitchen on fire and been praised for his creativity. I once got grounded for getting a B+ in math. People think favoritism is subtle. It's not. It's loud. It's a birthday with no candles. It's your name never being mentioned at the dinner table. It's your mother telling the neighbors, Liam's our little genius, while you're standing right there with a full scholarship in your hand. I learned to keep records early. I still remember the first time I recorded my mom screaming at me. I was 11. She'd accused me of stealing her bracelet. Liam had taken it to pawn for weed money, but she never asked him. She cornered me in the hallway, nails digging into my arm. I hit record on the old flip phone I wasn't supposed to use. I kept that file for years. It's backed up on 3 drives now. After I read the court papers, I went home and opened my laptop. I pulled up folders I hadn't touched in years, labeled by date, by incident. I clicked through screenshots of texts, audio files, voicemails. Lucia, don't embarrass us again. Just say yes to help Liam. You're being hysterical. You always overreact. Your brother needs this more than you do. I played them all, one by one. My own voice, small at first, then stronger. My mother's voice, cold and cutting. Liam's laughter in the background of more than one. I wasn't crazy. I'd just been raised by people who needed me to think I was. I called Nico next, my best friend since college, former debate partner, the only person who knew the full story. He picked up on the second ring. What's wrong? They're trying to put me under conservatorship, I said. Silence. Then, what the actual hell? I need help, I said. Legal help. And I think I know who to ask. I pulled out the old photo album I'd taken from my parents' attic last Christmas. I'd found it buried under old tax forms and Liam's baby teeth. In it, there was a picture from 1993. My mom, younger, smiling stiffly next to a woman I didn't recognize. The woman had the same eyes as me. I flipped to the back of the photo. In faded ink, Yvette, don't tell Derek. I'd Googled the name once. Found a lawyer in D.C. specializing in family law. Her last name matched my mom's maiden name. I'd never met her. My mom told me she died years ago. She hadn't. And now I was going to find her. Because if my family wanted war, they should have remembered who they trained. I stood outside the law office in Georgetown, clutching the photo like a talisman. The brass plaque on the door read, Yvette McBride, Family Law and Estate Planning. I hadn't called ahead. I didn't know what I'd say. I just knew I needed her. Inside, the receptionist looked up from her screen. Do you have an appointment? No, but I need to speak with Yvette. It's about Victoria. The woman's eyes flickered. Wait here. 10 minutes later, the door to the back office opened, and a woman stepped out. Mid-60s, sharp suit, silver-streaked hair pulled into a tight bun. Her eyes landed on me and widened. She walked toward me slowly. Lucia? I nodded. She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then, come in. Her office smelled like leather and old books. She motioned for me to sit, then shut the door behind us. I handed her the photo. This was in my parents' attic. You're in it. She stared at it, jaw tight. I didn't think she kept this. She told me you were dead. Yvette let out a bitter laugh. That sounds like her. I pulled the court papers from my bag and set them on the desk. They're trying to take control of my finances, claiming I'm mentally unfit. Yvette's eyes scanned the document quickly. This is serious. I know. That's why I'm here. She looked up. Why me? Because you're the only one who's ever been erased from her life like I have. And because I think you know things about my family I don't. Yvette leaned back in her chair. You're not wrong. I hesitated, then added, Will you help me? She didn't answer right away. Just tapped the edge of the court papers with her finger. Do you have evidence? I opened my laptop. Years worth. I showed her the files, voicemails, audio clips, screenshots. One of Liam texting me at 2 a.m. demanding money. One of my mom warning me not to make a scene at a family funeral when I confronted them about stealing my college fund. Yvette's face didn't change, but her eyes sharpened. Start sending these to me, she said, all of them. I'll file a response to the petition and request a hearing. We'll need to move fast. I nodded. Thank you. She paused. Lucia, do you really understand what you're about to do? I met her eyes. They came for me first. She nodded once. Then let's get to work. That night, I sat on my living room floor with Nico. He had his laptop open, sorting through files. I had a bottle of wine and a notebook filled with dates. Okay, he said, this voicemail from your mom, where she says, you're just like your aunt, always trying to ruin everything. That's gold. It proves she acknowledges Yvette exists. Use it, I said. We need to show a pattern. He clicked and dragged it into a folder labeled Admissible Evidence. I pulled out an old USB drive. This has the recording from Christmas 2018, the one where Liam yelled at me in front of everyone, the one where he called you a parasitic bitch for not paying off his car loan. Yeah, that one. Nico whistled low. This family, man, I shrugged. You've only seen the highlights. He looked up. You okay? I stared at the folder names on my screen. Gaslighting, threats, manipulation. I don't know, but I'm ready. He nodded. Good, because they're not. 3 days later, I met Yvette again. She handed me a manila folder. This is the initial response I filed. The hearing is set for 2 weeks from now, but there's something else. She pulled out a photo. It was from the 90s. My mom, Yvette, and a man I didn't recognize. That's Thomas, she said, a friend of ours. He and Victoria had a thing around the time you were conceived. I stared at the photo. You think he's my real father? I don't know, but I do know Victoria changed your birth certificate in 1995. I found the paperwork. My stomach turned. Why would she do that? Because if you were legally Derek's daughter, they could tie your finances to the family trust. If not, they have no claim. Exactly. I sat back. So this is bigger than just a conservatorship. It always was. I looked at the photo again. The man, Thomas, had my eyes. Same shape, same color. Yvette placed a hand on the folder. We'll get a DNA test. Quietly. But Lucia, once this comes out, there's no going back. I nodded slowly. I'm not going back. She smiled, just barely. Good. That night, I went through the old family album again. Tucked behind a picture of Liam's high school graduation was a sealed envelope, my name on the front. The handwriting was shaky. I opened it. Inside was a letter. Lucia, if you're reading this, it means you found her. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I wanted to, but your mother made it clear. If I ever reached out, she'd destroy me. I couldn't risk it, but I never stopped watching. I've followed your career. I've seen your strength. You are nothing like her. And everything like me. Love. Yvette. I stared at the letter until the words blurred. They tried to erase me, but I wasn't the one disappearing. Not anymore. Why do you want to talk to me now? Savannah asked, arms crossed, standing in the doorway of her apartment like she hadn't already agreed to meet. After everything? Because I think you know exactly who Liam is, I said, and I think you're tired of pretending otherwise. She studied me. She looked different since the last time I saw her. Rougher, sharper. The kind of edge people grow when they've been cut too many times. Fine, she said, stepping aside. 5 minutes. I walked in. Her place was small but clean. A dog barked from the back room. She tossed a hoodie over a pile of laundry on the couch and motioned for me to sit. I'm not here to drag you into anything, I said, but I need the truth, and I think you want to tell it. She sat across from me, legs bouncing. You know he drained our joint account, right? Said it was for a business emergency. I found out he bought a drone and a PS5. I nodded. That sounds like him. He told me I was lucky to be with him. Said my job didn't matter because he'd be a millionaire by 30. She scoffed. He's 33 and owes my cousin $5,000. I pulled out my phone and opened the audio app. Can I record this? She hesitated. Only if you promise I won't be dragged into court. I can't promise that, but I can promise I'll protect you as much as I can, and I'll never let him hurt anyone else like he hurt us. She stared at me for a long time, then nodded. I hit record. Start wherever you want. She took a breath. Thanksgiving, 2 years ago. We were at your parents' house. You remember that? Yeah. He was drunk. Your mom was pretending not to notice. You said something about your promotion, and he lost it. Started yelling about how you thought you were better than everyone. I remember. What you don't know is I left my phone in the baby's room. The monitor was on. It recorded everything. My eyes widened. You still have it? She stood up, walked to a drawer, and pulled out a flash drive. I've been holding on to this for a long time. She handed it to me. Her fingers brushed mine, cold and steady. There's more, she said. Your mom, she told me once that you were unstable, that you had episodes. I asked her what she meant, and she said you were always emotional, dramatic. She said if Liam ever needed to protect the family, they had ways to handle you. My stomach twisted. She said that to your face? Savannah nodded. I didn't believe her. Not until I saw how they treated you when you weren't around. I swallowed hard. Why are you helping me now? She looked down at her hands. Because I stayed quiet too long, and because your mom isn't who you think she is. She looked up. And neither are you. I met Nico at a diner the next morning. I slid the flash drive across the table. What's this? Thanksgiving. The real version. He plugged it into his laptop, popped in earbuds, and hit play. His face changed as he listened, eyes narrowing, jaw tightening. Jesus, he muttered. This is bad. Good, I said. I want them to hear it in court. He looked up. You sure you're ready for that? I nodded. They wanted to make me a ghost. I'm done haunting myself for their comfort. He smiled, just barely. You're terrifying when you're like this. Good, I said again. They should be scared. Yvette played the clip in her office later that day. She didn't flinch when Liam's voice came through the speakers, slurring insults and threats, my mom in the background saying, Don't provoke him, Lucia. You know how he gets. When it ended, Yvette sat back. This is gold. It proves a pattern of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and targeted manipulation, and it shows their version of events is false. I want this entered into evidence. It will be. I hesitated. There's more. I told her what Savannah said. About the episodes. About the way they plan to control me. Yvette's face hardened. They've been laying the groundwork for this for years. I think they always knew I'd fight back. Then they underestimated you. I pulled out a folder. This is my school records, medical files, employment history, clean. No diagnosis, no issues. They can't fake this. Yvette took it. We'll get an independent psych evaluation. Voluntary. That'll shut down their claim. I nodded. She leaned forward. Lucia, I need you to understand something. This isn't just about money. It's about power. And your mother, she doesn't lose. She will this time. Yvette smiled. Let's make sure of it. That night, I went home and pulled out my old journal. I flipped to a page from high school, freshman year. Or Mom said I was too sensitive again. Liam stole my headphones, and she said I should have hidden them better. I cried, and she told me to stop being dramatic. I stayed in my room all night. No one noticed. I tore the page out and fed it into the shredder. I wasn't that girl anymore. I wasn't hiding, and I wasn't alone. The courtroom smelled like old wood and nerves. I sat beside Yvette at the long table. Across from us, my parents and Liam looked like they were posing for a family Christmas card, matching outfits, fake smiles, the whole act. Victoria even wore pearls. Judge Reese entered, and everyone stood. She was tall, lean, and didn't smile. Her eyes scanned the room like she could already smell the lies. Let's begin, she said. Their lawyer went first. Some guy named Carson, all smug confidence and polished shoes. He stood and gestured toward me like I was Exhibit A. Your Honor, the Hayes family is here today out of deep concern for their daughter's mental well-being. Over the past year, Lucia has exhibited erratic, paranoid, and financially reckless behavior. I almost laughed. She's isolated herself from her family, he continued, refuses to communicate, and has made several large financial decisions without consulting anyone. We believe she is a danger to herself and potentially others. Yvette stood. Objection. None of this is supported by medical evidence, police reports, or financial instability. My client is a fully functioning adult with a clean record and a six-figure income. The judge nodded. Sustained. Mr. Carson, stick to facts. Carson cleared his throat. Of course, Your Honor. We have statements from family members, including her brother, that detail emotional outbursts and irrational decision-making. Liam strutted up to the witness stand like he was walking into a club. Liam, Carson began, can you describe your sister's behavior over the last year? She's been off, Liam said, putting on his best concerned face. She cut off contact with us for no reason. She accused my mom of stealing from her, which is insane. She's always been kind of intense, emotional. Like, she once screamed at me over a phone charger. I clenched my fist under the table. Yvette leaned over. Stay calm, let him hang himself. Carson smiled. Would you say she's financially irresponsible? She bought a $2,000 couch, Liam said. Who does that when their family's struggling? Yvette stood. Objection. Her income allows for that purchase, and the family's financial struggles are due to Liam's failed businesses, not my client. Judge Reese nodded. Let's move on. Next, Victoria took the stand. She looked right at me as she spoke. Lucia has always been sensitive. We tried to support her, but she pushes everyone away. She refuses help. She thinks we're all out to get her. Yvette stood again. Your Honor, I'd like to submit Exhibit A. She handed a flash drive to the bailiff. The judge nodded, and the audio played through the room. Liam's voice slurred. You think you're better than us? You're not. You're just a bitch with a paycheck. Victoria's voice. Don't provoke him, Lucia. You know how he gets. Silence. Then the judge looked at Victoria. Do you deny this is your voice? Victoria's jaw tightened. It was taken out of context. Yvette smiled. We have the full recording, Your Honor. 37 minutes. Would you like to hear it all? No, the judge said. That's enough for now. Carson tried to recover. That was a private family moment, and it shows a pattern, Yvette said, of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and manipulation. The judge turned to me. Miss Lucia, would you like to speak? I stood, heart pounding. Yes, Your Honor. I walked to the stand and looked straight at my mother. For years I thought I was crazy. I thought maybe I was too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. But I wasn't. I was just inconvenient. I didn't fit the version of family they wanted. I turned to the judge. I've worked since I was 15. I put myself through college. I've never asked them for a cent. But when I finally made something of myself, they decided they wanted a piece of it. And when I said no, they decided to take all of it by calling me insane. Carson stood. Objection. Sit down, the judge said. I looked back at my parents. They called me unstable. But I have no history of mental illness. I have no debt. I have a job I earned. I have proof of every lie they've told. And I have a right to live my life without being controlled by people who only loved me when I was useful. I stepped down. The judge looked at Yvette. Anything further? Yvette walked to the bench with a sealed envelope. This may alter the eligibility of the complaint entirely. What is it? The judge asked. Confidential documents regarding my client's birth certificate and potential paternity. If confirmed, it would mean the petitioners are not legally entitled to file for conservatorship. Victoria's face went pale. Judge Reese took the envelope and opened it. Her eyes scanned the contents. She looked up slowly. We'll reconvene in 3 days. In the meantime, I'm issuing a temporary block on all financial access to Ms. Lucia's accounts by the petitioners. She banged the gavel. Court adjourned. Outside, Victoria grabbed my arm. What the hell are you doing? I shook her off. You should have left me alone. You're destroying this family. No, I said. You did that a long time ago. Liam stepped forward, her eyes wild. You think this is over? You think you're going to win? I looked at him. Really looked. You already lost. And I walked away. Yvette slid the manila folder across the table toward me. You might want to sit down before you open that. I was already sitting, but my stomach dropped like I wasn't. I peeled the flap open and pulled out the documents. Birth certificate copies, notarized letters, and a trust agreement with Liam's name on it. Just Liam's. What is this? I asked, flipping through. The original version of your birth certificate, Yvette said, and the one Victoria submitted to the court in 1995. I froze. Why would she change it? She needed you to be Derek's daughter, legally, because of the family trust. I looked up. So I'm not? Yvette nodded slowly. There's a strong chance you're not biologically related to him. I'm waiting on the DNA results to confirm. I stared at the paper. They built a trust fund and left me out. Correct. The trust was created using money from your maternal grandfather. It was supposed to be split between both children, but Victoria funneled everything into Liam's name. She used your legal status as leverage to make it look clean. I rubbed my temples. So they stole my inheritance, and now they're trying to steal the rest. Yvette leaned in. This is financial fraud, and if the DNA confirms what we suspect, their entire case collapses. I nodded. What happens to the trust? If you're not Derek's daughter, you were never legally part of the contract, but we can sue for restitution, especially if we prove Victoria manipulated the documents. I closed the folder. Let's do it. 2 days later, I was back at the house. Court-mandated mediation. One last attempt to resolve things privately. I didn't want to be there, but Yvette said it was strategic. Let them show their hand. The house smelled the same, like lemon cleaner and lies. Victoria greeted me with a fake smile. Lucia, you look tired. You look desperate, I said, stepping inside. Derek was in the living room, clutching a mug like it was a lifeline. He didn't meet my eyes. We sat. The mediator, a woman in her 50s with a calm voice, opened her notebook. Let's begin. Victoria went first. We're here because we love our daughter and want what's best for her. She's clearly under a lot of stress and making irrational decisions. I snorted. Like not giving you my money? Like cutting off her family and accusing us of theft. I looked at the mediator. Can I respond? She nodded. I pulled out a printed email. This is from 2017. My mom asked me to co-sign a loan for Liam. When I said no, she called me a selfish little girl and said I'd regret it. I slid it across the table. Victoria's face stayed blank. That was taken out of context. I pulled out another. This is a text from Liam threatening to ruin me if I didn't send him $5,000. Derek finally spoke. Lucia, you're blowing this out of proportion. I turned to him. Did you know? He blinked. Know what? That I'm not your daughter. Silence. Victoria's face went white. Derek looked at her, then back at me. What are you talking about? I pulled out the photo of Thomas. This man. He and Mom had an affair. Around the time I was conceived. Victoria stood. This is ridiculous. I kept going. You changed my birth certificate. You funneled money into a trust I was supposed to be part of. You lied about who I am. And now, you're trying to take what little I've built on my own. The mediator cleared her throat. I think we need to pause. No, I said. We're not pausing. We're finishing. Victoria leaned over the table. You think you can destroy us with this? You think anyone will care? You're just a bitter little girl with daddy issues. I stood. No, I'm a grown woman with evidence. I turned to Derek. Did you know? He didn't answer. Victoria snapped. Of course he knew. He just didn't care, as long as the money stayed in the family. Derek flinched. Victoria, I stared at him. You're worse than she is. I grabbed my bag and walked out. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the attic, the old safe behind the boxes of Christmas stuff. I remembered it from when I was a kid. Victoria always said it was just boring paperwork. I drove over after midnight. The house was dark. I still had a key. I crept up to the attic, heart pounding. The safe was still there. Same combination I remembered from years ago. Liam's birthday. Click. Inside were folders, tax returns, legal documents, letters. One envelope was addressed to Victoria. Another, unopened, had my name on it. I opened mine. Lucia, if you're reading this, I failed. I should have told you everything sooner. Your mother made it clear I wasn't welcome in your life, but I've watched you grow from afar. You're stronger than she ever imagined, and I'm sorry you had to be. You deserve the truth. You deserve peace, and you deserve every cent they tried to steal from you. Love, Yvette. I sat on the attic floor holding the letter. They tried to erase me, but I found the proof, and soon the world would see it too. The courtroom was packed. Word had spread, maybe because Savannah posted a cryptic tweet about finally telling the truth. Maybe because people love watching a golden family fall apart in real time. Either way, the gallery was full when we walked in. Yvette looked calm. I felt like I might throw up. Just breathe, Nico whispered as he handed me a bottle of water. You've got this. Savannah was already seated near the witness stand, her hands folded in her lap. She gave me a small nod. I nodded back. Judge Reese entered, and we all stood. Let's proceed, she said, voice firm. Ms. McBride, call your next witness. Yvette stood. We call Savannah Dawson. Savannah walked up, swore in, and sat down. She looked smaller up there, but her voice didn't shake once. Savannah, Yvette began, how long were you in a relationship with Liam? 3 years, she said, on and off. Can you describe the dynamic between Liam and his family? Savannah nodded. They treated him like he could do no wrong, his mom especially. He'd mess up and they'd twist it into someone else's fault, usually Lucia's. Yvette handed her a small recorder. Do you recognize this? Savannah pressed play. Liam's voice crackled through the speaker. She thinks she's better than me. That money should have been mine. I swear to God, if she doesn't give it up, I'll make her life hell. She won't see it coming. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Victoria's face turned to stone. Yvette turned back to Savannah. When did you record this? Last year. He didn't know I left my phone on. Did you ever witness any financial misconduct? Savannah nodded. He used my name to open a credit line. When I confronted him, he said his mom would cover it. And she did. Judge Reese leaned forward. Did Victoria know it was fraud? Yes. She said it was just paperwork and told me to stop being dramatic. Yvette turned to the judge. We'd like to submit this audio and Savannah's testimony as evidence of character, intent, and financial manipulation. Admitted, the judge said. Victoria stood up suddenly. This is a setup. That girl's always hated us. Sit down, the judge said sharply, or I'll hold you in contempt. Victoria sat. Yvette called Nico next. He walked confidently to the stand, swore in, and opened his laptop. I've been helping Lucia gather documentation, he said, and I found something interesting. He clicked a few keys. This is a transaction log from a shared family account. Liam transferred $15,000 to a private account under a fake LLC. The LLC doesn't exist. It's just a shell. He clicked again. Here's the kicker. The routing number traces back to an account under Victoria's name. She authorized it. The judge raised an eyebrow. Are you saying the petitioners are involved in financial fraud? Yes, Your Honor. We've submitted the full report to the court. Liam stood. That's a lie. That's not even my... Mr. Hayes, the judge snapped. Sit down. Liam's face turned red. He looked at Victoria, who looked like she was about to explode. Yvette stood again. Your Honor, we also submit bank statements, emails, and a signed document showing Derek was aware of these transactions and chose not to report them. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear. The judge turned to him. Mr. Hayes, do you deny this? He didn't answer. Mr. Hayes, he finally spoke. Quietly. I didn't want to ruin the family. You mean the image of the family, I said from my seat. The judge turned to me. Ms. Lucia, do you have anything further to submit? Yvette nodded and handed her another envelope. DNA results, confirming that Lucia is not biologically related to Derek Hayes. The judge opened it, read it, looked up. This changes the legal standing of the petitioners. They are not her legal guardians, nor do they have any claim to her finances. Victoria stood again. You can't do this. She's still my daughter. She's not your property, I said. Victoria turned to me, eyes wild. You ungrateful little... Enough, the judge snapped. One more outburst, and I will clear this courtroom. Victoria sat, shaking. Yvette turned to the judge. We're requesting the petition be dismissed with prejudice, and we're filing for damages for defamation, emotional distress, and attempted financial exploitation. The judge nodded. I'll take a brief recess. We'll reconvene in 30 minutes for a ruling. In the hallway, Liam cornered me. You think this is over? He hissed. You think you won? I didn't flinch. I didn't win. You lost. All on your own. You ruined everything. No, I said. I exposed everything. You ruined it. He stepped closer, but Yvette appeared behind me like a ghost. Step back, Liam. He backed off, eyes burning. Yvette looked at me. You okay? I nodded. Let's finish this. Back in court, the judge returned with her ruling. The court finds the petitioners acted in bad faith. The conservatorship request is denied and dismissed. Furthermore, the court is referring this matter to the district attorney's office for potential criminal investigation into financial fraud and perjury. Victoria gasped. Liam cursed under his breath. The judge raised her gavel. It's no longer a matter of family. This is a matter for federal prosecution. Bang! Court adjourned. The courtroom was dead silent when Yvette stood up with the DNA envelope in her hand. Your Honor, she said, her voice calm but cutting, this document confirms that Lucia is not biologically related to Derek Hayes, which means, legally, he has no standing to claim guardianship or financial control. The entire petition is invalid. Judge Reese took the envelope, opened it, and read the results. Her eyes flicked up at Victoria, then to Derek, then finally to me. Is this accurate? She asked. Yvette nodded. Verified by an independent lab. Chain of custody maintained. Victoria stood up so fast her chair screeched back. This is slander. No, Yvette said. This is science. Victoria's voice cracked. She is my daughter. I raised her. I fed her. You forged her birth certificate, Yvette said, stepping forward. You took money meant for both children and funneled it into a trust under Liam's name. You lied to your husband. You lied to your daughter. You lied to this court. Derek finally spoke, voice low. You told me she was mine. Victoria turned on him. You knew. You said it didn't matter. I said I didn't want to know, he snapped. You made the choice to lie. I just let you. Yvette turned to the judge. Your Honor, in addition to the dismissal of the petition, we are submitting evidence of financial misconduct, falsification of legal documents, and perjury. She handed over a thick folder. Judge Reese flipped through it. This is substantial, and, Yvette added, we are requesting damages for emotional distress, defamation, and attempted financial exploitation. My client has suffered professionally and personally due to this case. Victoria's face twisted. She's not a victim. She's vindictive. She's always been jealous of Liam. She's always tried to tear this family apart. I stood up. You tore it apart when you chose him over and over again. When you told me I was too emotional, too dramatic. When you let him scream at me and called it just boys being boys. When you told the world I was crazy just because I stopped letting you control me. Victoria lunged forward. I gave you everything. No, I said. You took everything. And now you're mad I survived it. A bailiff stepped between us. Victoria backed away, breathing hard. Yvette turned back to the judge. We request a formal ruling. Judge Reese nodded. The court finds in favor of the respondent, Lucia. The petition is dismissed with prejudice. Damages will be awarded pending a separate hearing. The court is also referring this case to the district attorney for further investigation. She banged the gavel. Victoria screamed, actually screamed. You ungrateful bitch! You ruined us! I didn't flinch. I didn't move. I just watched her fall apart. Liam tried to pull her away, but she shoved him off. This is your fault, too. You couldn't just shut up and let me handle it? Derek stood there like a ghost. The bailiff escorted them out, one by one. Yvette turned to me. It's done, I nodded. Almost. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed. Microphones shoved in my face. Lucia, do you have a comment? Are you pressing charges? Is it true you're not biologically related to Derek? I held up my hand. No comment. Nico slipped through the crowd and guided me to the car. You okay? I don't know, I said. I think I just won, but it doesn't feel like winning. He opened the door. It never does. Later that night, I sat in Yvette's office going over the final paperwork. She poured 2 glasses of wine. To the end of the worst chapter. I raised mine. To the beginning of the next. She handed me a folder. This is everything the court awarded you. Damages, restitution, and a formal apology from the state for the mishandling of the initial filing. I flipped through it. This is a lot. You earned every penny. I looked at her. Why did you write me that letter? The one in the safe? She smiled. Because I knew one day you'd need to hear the truth. Not from a judge, not from a lawyer, from someone who's been where you are. I nodded. Thank you. She raised her glass again. You didn't just survive them. You beat them. As I left the office, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think this is over? I stared at it for a second, then blocked the number, because I did think it was over. And if it wasn't, well, I was ready. The wind whipped through the cemetery trees as I stepped onto the gravel path. The sky was gray, not dramatic, just tired, like it had seen too much. I found the grave easily. The headstone was modest. Thomas Reeves, beloved friend, 1965-2000. I crouched down and wiped a few dead leaves from the stone. I don't know if you ever knew about me, I said quietly, but I know about you now. I pulled a folded piece of paper from my coat pocket and placed it at the base of the stone. It was a copy of the DNA results, not because he needed proof, but because I did. I'm not here for closure, I added. I'm just here. Behind me, footsteps crunched. I turned to see Yvette, holding 2 coffees. Didn't think you'd come, I said. I owed him, she replied, handing me a cup. And I owed you. We stood there for a minute, sipping in silence. I started the paperwork, I said. For the scholarship fund, she smiled. Under his name? Yeah, for kids like me, the ones who were invisible in their own homes. She nodded. He would have liked that. I looked at her. You think he would have liked me? Yvette didn't hesitate. He would have loved you. Back at my apartment, the boxes were stacked against the wall. Not moving boxes. Donation boxes. I was clearing out the last pieces of the life I built to survive them. Old awards they never came to see. Photos I used to pretend meant something. A drawer full of journals from years I can't reread. Nico walked in carrying takeout. You sure you're ready to let all this go? Yeah, I said, taping the last box shut. It's not who I am anymore. He set the food down. You know, you could write a book about this. People would eat it up. I laughed. A revenge memoir? No, a truth memoir. I looked at him. You think anyone would care? He shrugged. Doesn't matter. You'd be telling your story, not theirs. I walked over to the desk and pulled out a fresh notebook. On the first page, I wrote, "This is not about revenge. This is about reclamation." Nico peered over my shoulder. That your title? Working on it. He grinned. You're going to be dangerous with a pen. I smiled back. Good. The next morning, I got a call from the DA's office. Just wanted to inform you, the woman said. The investigation into the Hayes family is moving forward. Liam's being charged with wire fraud and identity theft. Victoria's being looked at for perjury and falsifying legal documents. I didn't ask about Derek. I thanked her and hung up. The last time I saw Victoria was in a grocery store parking lot. She was sitting in her car, staring at the steering wheel like she'd forgotten how to drive. I walked past her without stopping, but she saw me. She rolled down the window. Lucia. I turned, slowly. She looked older, not in the way time ages you, but in the way guilt does. I didn't know how to love you, she said. I know. I thought if I controlled you, I could keep you safe. You weren't keeping me safe. You were keeping me small. And she swallowed hard. Do you hate me? I looked her in the eyes. No. Her face crumpled. But I don't forgive you either, I added. Not yet. She nodded. I don't expect you to. I turned and walked away. She didn't stop me. That night, I sat on my balcony with Yvette and Nico. The city lights blinked below us. We passed a bottle of wine back and forth. You know, I said, I always thought justice would feel cleaner. Yvette chuckled. It never is. It's like, I won, but I still lost something. You lost the illusion, Nico said. That's always the hardest part. I nodded. But I gained something too. Your freedom, Yvette said. No, I said. My name. They looked at me. I pulled out the official document I'd picked up that morning. Name change approval. My birth father's last name. It's mine now, I said. All of it. Yvette raised her glass. To Lucia Reeves. To truth, Nico added. I clinked their glasses, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was surviving. I felt like I was living. I didn't burn their empire down for revenge. I did it so they'd stop pretending they ever built it.